Srimad Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Sutara Sadashi Srimad Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Venshikaro Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta-vrinda ki jai. Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopinath Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Govardhan ki jai. Vrindavan ki jai. Mayapur ki jai. Jagannath Puri ki jai. Nikulokadam ki jai. Satan Jaga ki jai. Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Book distribution ki jai. Prashanam distribution ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees of Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees of Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees of Hare Krishna. Shrimati Tulsi Devi ki jai. Mangamai Jamuna Magi ki jai. Go Premanandi Hari Hari Go. First, I want to thank you very much for the beautiful, beautiful chanting. It's like my nature is a little bit like a sponge, and I was, when you were chanting Japa together, it was very wonderful because I could perceive your sincerity and your depth of advancement and purity. And it was very, very touching, and I really appreciate it. And when also I could, frankly speaking, I was listening to Narendra Prabhu's lecture that he did on Radhastami. And he was asking, before the lecture, he was asking everyone's prayer. And I'm asking the same thing, because if he needs it, I need it about probably 1,000 times more. For real. And anyway, it was very interesting lecture. I did the homework the best I could do. I first listened to Srila Prabhupada, 1971 lecture. It was very interesting. First, Srila Prabhupada spoke about the glories of Krishna, but not the intimate glories of Krishna, just the grandeur, really. How great is Krishna, how small we are, and the whole, you could really perceive all the philosophy behind it. It was so solid. And then, that was half of the class. And then, the last half, he says, well, Srimati Radharani's appearance is, so I should speak about it. So what he did is sang very beautifully. If you have a chance, that one, I confused the two classes. The one that he sang very beautifully was the 1968 in Montreal. And I wish I would have been there, but I was in Montreal, but I was only 15 and I didn't know. So, but it was very, very touching to hear Srila Prabhupada singing the Radhastami. And a little further in the class, I'm going to ask Divyani Talida. Uh-oh, her jaw fell off. But I think she'll get used to the idea. She will do it, I'm sure. So to lead us in that, and Srila Prabhupada explained the meaning, and it's very, very, very nice. And if you have a chance this week to listen to this beautiful lecture of 19th, you should, on YouTube, you go Prabhupada, Montreal, 1968. And the other one is Prabhupada in, where was it? It was in London, 1970. And Narendra Prabhu was in Baltimore in 2018. And okay, so let me tell you a little more about the lecture of Srila Prabhupada. point that was very interesting is that last year I was listening to lecture on Radhastami of Pre-Radhastami Maharaj, and it was a long one. It was 2-3 hours. And he did the same exact thing as Srila Prabhupada. He spoke about Krishna so long. He spoke about Mahavishnu and the cosmic manifestation and who we are in the material world. And Srila Prabhupada goes in to say, that we are struggling for material existence, that we are only, most people think about eating, sleeping, mating, defending, and that's consciousness of animal. And he brings the reality of the world. And then he speaks about how sannyasis have completely rejected material enjoyment. And if Krishna devotees, if the requirement is to reject material enjoyment, then want to speak of Krishna. When he wants to enjoy, it's not a material affair. It's completely spiritual. And us in the material world, it's a little difficult to understand. It takes a lot of purification. And that's why Srila Prabhupada and his, the dear devotees like Radhanath, I see that also in Krishna Maharaj. When he speaks about Srimati Radharani, he speaks in a very sober way. And he brings the whole same thing. Our situation in the material world, who Krishna is, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, how important that he is a person. Srila Prabhupada was saying about, he was speaking against impersonalism. He was speaking that it's one realization, but he was speaking against the idea of thinking that the bright light is bigger, is more important than Krishna. So he was bringing all of these points, philosophical points. And I really, when I hear that like that, it satisfies the soul, Because sometimes you hear more intimate stories. I may say a couple of stories, but sometimes we hear stories that I'm not even sure about. And I don't know if they are bona fide or not. And even if they were bona fide, I heard a very good point by Raghunath Prabhu, is a disciple of Radhanath Maharaj. He said something very interesting one day. He was speaking about not really understanding that the relationship between Radha and Krishna is completely spiritual. But he gave a material example that was kind of funny, but it really hit home. He said, if I was in my room with my wife, and his friend, Kostuba, would come, and he would say, I want to witness your pastimes. He would say, get out of here. So it's the same thing for us. We are all part and parcel of Krishna. And in the beautiful prayer that we say every morning to Tulsi Devi, we're actually asking in a very humble way to enter, to witness the pastimes of Radha and Krishna, to be in Vrindavan in consciousness. And the last line is this very fallen and lowly servant of Krishna prays. We always swim in the love of Radha and Krishna. So we're asking that. But at the same time, the only way we can get that is by becoming the servant of the servant of the servant of someone who is actually pure, who doesn't want to enjoy Krishna, but be enjoyed by Krishna. This is such an important point. Because that's the only way we're going to be happy anyway. Because if we try to crash the party, we get kicked out. You understand the expression? We go to a place where we're not invited. It comes only by the mercy of the spiritual master. And that's very, very important. And another point that's very important is that the spiritual master is totally dedicated to Krishna, and as a spiritual master who is totally dedicated to Krishna, and like that all the way to Balkama. Or there is 4 different sampradayas. But this situation is very, very important. It does require surrender. It does require some seriousness. But it feels like, in the old days, in the Western world, they had gold coin, and they were testing the gold by their teeth, if it was real gold. That's the way they put it in there. They check, this is real gold or this is fake gold. So when we go too fast in trying to associate with the divine couple, we might not be ready yet to understand how divine they are and how our little position, our eternal position, is to render in a very humble way and do whatever we can to please them, to please the person that is actually pleasing them, that's actually pleasing them, that's actually pleasing them. And in that mood, then by doing that, Radhanath Maharaj says in his book, The Journey Within, that very often it's a journey of many lifetimes. And when I hear many of you, it's like, take an Indian birth is not ordinary. And you have started your journey. Some past life, it's a great blessing. So, I don't know where you are all at, but I suspect that a lot of you are much more close to that. And I appreciate that. I can hear it in the singing. It's very, very beautiful. So I hope that all of you will keep on singing like that with all your heart and your sincerity and your desire to please Radha Gurunanda. So now, maybe we're ready to learn that beautiful, beautiful song. Many of you know it, and we will do the meaning after, because you're all bad with that. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite. 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 Gokula Taruni Mandala Marite. Gokula Taruni Mandala Marite. Gokula Taruni Mandala Marite. Gokula Taruni Mandala Marite. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite. Radharati Vardhana Veshe. Radharati Vardhana Veshe. Radharati Vardhana Veshe. Radhe So Radhi is O Radha, Jaya Jaya is all glories unto you, all glories unto you. Madhava Daiti, the one who is dear to Madhava. Gokula, Gokula, Harmony. Harmony, it means the younger. Harmony Madhava. Mahiti, who you who are glorified. So it's praising Shrimati Radharani as the best of the young girls of Gokula. Then, number 2, Damodar, Lord Damodar's love and attachment, Vardhana to increase, Vaishi, or you would dress yourself in such a way, Ariniskuta, of the pleasure grove of Lord Hari. Vrinda Vipina, Vrinda Devi's forest in Narhan, Ishe, O Queen. Or you would dress yourself so as to make Lord Damodar love you more and more. O Queen of Lord Hari's pleasure grove in Narhan. Vishabhanu Dadi, Navashashiliki. Vishabhanu Dadi is from the ocean of King Vishabhanu. Navashashiliki, O goddess of the newly arisen moon. Lalita Saki, O friend of Lalita. Guna, due to your wonderful qualities. Ramita Vishaki, O you who give intimate pleasure to Vishaka. New moon arisen from the ocean of King Vishabhanu, O friend of Lalita, O you whose virtues delight Vishaka. Karuna Mukuru Mai. Karuna is pleased and merciful. Mai to me. Karuna Varite. O you are filled with compassion. Sanaka Sanatana. Varita Charity, O you whose divine characteristic are inspired. O most merciful goddess, O you whose divine qualities are sung by Sanaka and Sanatan Kumaras. O most merciful Radha, please have mercy on me. You know, the last line is interesting because the author is Srila Rupa Goswami, and he is saying it is a great saint. So one would wonder, how come you're asking, you're a great saint, you're asking the mercy of a young girl? But then they say, no, Sanaka and Sanatan Kumars are asking the mercy of Srimati Radharani. So I'm also asking the mercy of Srimati Radharani. And actually, I want to tell you a little bit about the lecture of Mahendra Prabhu in 2018. He dealt with, it was very, very beautiful because he spoke about the Via Bhagavatamrita. And he also did that when he needed to give a class on Srimati Radharani. He went on Srila Prabhupada lecture. And he found a lecture that was 25 minutes. I don't know what year it was. But he said after 15 minutes, talking about Krishna and nothing about Srimati Radharani. And then after 20 minutes, he was still talking about Krishna. I thought, maybe it's a mistake, maybe it's a mistake from the lecture on Janmashtami. On the 24th minute, Srila Prabhupada said, and today is the appearance of Srimati Radharani, we should offer our most respectful obeisances to her. That's the way he did it. So the way that Amarendra Prabhu, following the footsteps of Srila Prabhupada and his guru, he spoke about the story, the wonderful story of the Pre-Radhastami, in which Narada Muni is asking, he was in search of who is the best devotee. I want to worship the best devotee, I want to associate, I want to serve the best devotee. So first he went to this Brahmana, and this Brahmana was worshipping Shiva very nicely. And he said, oh, you are the recipient of the mercy of Lord Krishna, you're the best recipient. And the Brahmana, he finished his worship and he said, that's just not true, there is a king that does a whole lot better than me, and he gets all the citizens in the kingdom to worship Radha and Krishna. So then, don't worship the Shiva. So then he went to the king. I might not have forgive me if I don't have the exact, I'll do the gist of it, I'll do my best. If you remember some details that I don't remember, your tell me, because. So he went to that king, and he praised the king, you are the best recipient of Krishna's mercy. And the king said, I wish that what you are saying is true. I do worship Krishna. The kingdom, all my citizens worship Krishna. We're very happy about that. But Lord Indra is doing a whole lot better than me. Because he said, it's only one little kingdom, But Lord Indra has so many planetary systems and like that. So he went to Lord Indra. Now that gets a little funny. Because when he went to Lord Indra and Narada Muni said, you are the best recipient of Krishna's mercy. The way Amarendra speaks about it is funny. He said, you didn't read the 6th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam? In which I offended my spiritual master. And then a Brahmana came to help me get forgiven for that offense. And I got angry with him to the point that I cut off his head. And he said, that wasn't bad enough. Then he said, I went to Dasi to get the weapon to ultimately kill Vitashura, who, when I was busy doing that, started praising Lord Krishna and manifesting that he was a pure devotee. He said, I am in trouble. And then there's the story of Govardhan. He said, I do worship Krishna. And most of the time, I'm doing my service the best of my ability. But sometimes I make mistakes, big ones, because my post is big, and so I make mistakes. So he said, go to Lord Brahma. So he said, he went to Lord Brahma, his father, and Lord Brahma said, it's true that I worship Krishna. It's true that I have nobody else as a father and mother than Krishna because I was born from a lotus flower. But did you read in the 10th canto when I didn't realize that Krishna was actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead? And he said, at least Indra, that is the interesting way he put it. He said, at least Indra, by lifting Govardhan hill, he allowed all the inhabitants of Vrindavan to come together and be very happy for 7 days and nights, all being together, worshiping Krishna. Everybody was so ecstatic. But he said, me, I kidnapped the coward boys and put them in a cave. I took Krishna's friends over. He said, so Narada Muni said, I'm not going back to Indra because he's going to send me right back to you. So he said, who did he go after? Was it Prahlad Maharaj? Shiva. Oh yeah, Shiva. Important. And Lord Shiva, I remember this, I did listen to the story, and what was it? What did he say? Can somebody remember what he said?
From what I recollect is, he was praising Lord Shiva, and then Lord Shiva says, well, he was
So he was praising Lord Shiva. Yeah, Lord Shiva, Narada Muni goes, yeah, I get to meet you, Lord Shiva. Brahma, send me here. Lord Shiva goes, okay, yes. But do you know about these pure devotees? These pure devotees, he was referring to Vaikuntha, and then he says, now you know that the Lord is there in Dwarka, right? And then he brings in the pure devotees into picture who always carry and associate themselves with the Lord, and that's when he refers him to the purest of the devotee Prahlada, if I'm not wrong. And then he goes to Sutta. You inspired me because as you were speaking, I remembered a little more. It works like that. Huh? He was saying that also he incarnated himself as Sankaracharya, and he was preaching impersonalism. Krishna didn't like that at all. And he also said something else. He said, also I give mukti. And Krishna, the devotees don't like that. So he said, go to Prahlad Maharaj. Now we're at Prahlad Maharaj. And Prahlad Maharaj said, and he said, oh, you are the greatest recipient of Lord's mercy. Because Lord Shiva came for you and all that. And he said, you were tortured. Oh yeah, another thing that Lord Shiva said, I think it's Lord Shiva. He said, I wasn't tortured or like that, Prahlad was tortured for worshipping the Lord, so he's much greater than. So, and actually, Prahlad Maharaj is so wonderful because, Lord Chaitanya, when he reached Srimad Bhagavatam, he reads that pastime again and again, 100 times, and he cries over it, how much love that he has for his devotees. And then he cries so much that pages of Srimad Bhagavatam are unreadable. So that's how much he is so dear to Krishna. But Prahlad Maharaj said, I'm not the best recipient because a servant of Krishna, a real devotee, does something for the Lord. But all I did is that I was in trouble and I remember the Lord. He said, when you get a guest that's unannounced, you give them some water, a garland, and a place to sit. He said, I was so surprised about the whole thing. I didn't give him a place to sit. He went to find his own place on the throne of my father. And then he said, I didn't give him a garland, so he garlanded himself with the testament of my father. And he said, I didn't give him water, he drank. So he said, no, I am not the best recipient. So after Prahlad Maharaj, it was Hanuman. Yes, thank you. It was Hanuman. And he said, oh, you're the greatest recipient, Hanuman. Greatest, your servant, Lord Ram, all the time. And Hanuman said, I am not the greatest recipient. And then he spoke about Lord Ram, how much he was attached to Lord Ram, more than he was attached to Krishna. And after Hanuman was the Yadus. He said, one thing that Hanuman said also, he said, all the monkeys come back to God every So I'm sure not the greatest recipient. So, but he is. He is. One of the greatest. And then the Yadus, King Ugrasena. Krishna has a lot of time with King Ugrasena and offered him obeisances and glorified him and loved him very much. And what did King Ugrasena say? Somebody remembers? But after that, somebody remember?
I was just thinking Pandavas and then Yadus.
Oh yeah, the Pandavas. Oh, that's a good one. The Pandavas said, whoever hears me doesn't want to become a devotee. Because, we were exiled in the forest, and Yudhishthira said, I lost my wife, I lost my kingdom, I had a very difficult life, and it's not very inspiring for people to, especially for people that have material desires. We look at that example of the wanderers and say, no, that's not for me. So, so after the Pandavas, they went to the queens, the Yadus and the queens, right? Yeah. Because Krishna was with the Yadus a lot, because he was part of their family. So then he had a lot of pastimes and loving exchanges with them. But even when he was there, he would wake up in the middle of the night and he would cry, oh, Gopis of Vrindavan, oh, Mother Jasoda, oh, Radha. And they said, we're serving him hand and foot all day long. And he's crying about somebody else. So there must be somebody better than us. So then he went to right? And Uddhava, what did Uddhava say? Oh, he said, Uddhava said that actually he thought that he was very close to Krishna, but then Krishna sent him to Vrindavan to learn from the gopis how to really love Krishna. And he was so impressed. He brought that letter to the gopis and he saw their incredible love. And of all of them, of course, Srimati Radharani was the creche. So he brought that whole story like that. So that was very beautiful. So now I want to speak about the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. Okay, this very nice book. It's called Pada Sevana. And there is a picture of the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. And it's like that. I'll show it to you. There we go. Can you see it?
Yes.
On the screen.
Okay, you see it on the screen. That's good. And you know what's interesting? Is that Lord Chaitanya is Krishna in the mood of Radharani. So I looked at the signs on the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. Then I looked on the sign of the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. Then I looked at the sign on the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya. And it's a combination of both. And there is and it's so important to get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. And to get, I was actually in Mayapur when Srila Prabhupada gave that lecture, and I still remember it because it really went very deep in my heart. When he spoke about if you want to get the mercy of Krishna, you've got to get the mercy of Srimati Radharani. If you want to get the mercy of Srimati Radharani, you've got to get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. If you want to get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, you've got to get the mercy of Lord Nityananda and of the six Goswamis of Vrindavan. And he said for that, he was encouraging the Sankirtan very much to the book distribution. Srila Prabhupada was really into getting his books out because he knew, Krishna was, had empowered him to write these books. Srila Prabhupada says, when I write these books, Krishna is right there, dictating these books. So that's Krishna's message of love to the whole of humanity at this time. And to bring that message to other souls that are struggling in this material world, that are under Durga. Under Durga is very harsh. In French, dur means very harsh. It's the same thing. Okay, thank you. Duryodhan, Duran. But it's tough there. There's a lot of crime. It's dur. It's tough. It's moving with great difficulty. So much. So to bring that message of love, that knowledge mixed with Prabhupada was speaking actually in one of the lectures that was listening. He said, I got the title Bhakti Vedanta. So the impersonalists get this Vedanta title, lots of knowledge of the Vedas. But I got Bhakti Vedanta. And actually, that is the real knowledge. So to bring the knowledge with Bhakti Vedanta, Swami Prabhupada's books, to this world, is so, so important in whatever way we can. You know, I mean, I'll give you a little hint. It's like, you know, some of us get deliveries from Amazon, right? And from FedEx, right? And sometimes you go get an order at Walmart or whatever. And these people are actually, you know, if, you know, Chateau, he always gave that tip, and then it works. Of course it works. He says you tell someone, you are so learned, you are so great, you are so, you know, now forget everything and take this knowledge. So, I mean, you know, when the FedEx person comes or the Amazon comes, I just tell them that they have a wonderful smile, or that they're very fast, or they're very efficient, they're whatever, you know. And they appreciate, you know, it's like they kind of stop and they go, oh, somebody recognizes, you know, they appreciate the appreciation. And then I ask them two questions. Do you like to cook or do you like to eat, to read? Everybody likes to read, I never ask that question. I should have, actually I should have. I make some little trail mix, you know, very, very simple trail mix of just raisins, sliced almonds and chocolate chip, everybody likes that. But now I should ask that question too, see, but I just ask them, you know, do you like to read or do you like to cook? And then I give them a higher taste, you know, with recipes from all around the world, and you know, and they're very grateful actually. And if they like to read, I love this book so much. It's Beyond Birth and Death, you know, because the picture in front of it is so universal. Anyone from any religion can recognize, you know, the changing bodies. You know, we are all going through it, you know. And then sometimes with black people, usually, I open it the first chapter, the first chapter. But then even with anybody, I just said, you know, I've got some good news. What are these bodies? We're the soul. And if we think like that, we'll get along a whole lot better. And you know what? They kind of appreciate it, and they are ready to take it, you know. And whenever we have a chance, because Lord Chaitanya, he did say that. Whoever you see, whoever you meet, tell them about Krishna. And we don't have time in these little encounters to tell them. And what Srila Prabhupada has told us also is, what's your big lecture of 2 hours will do, you know? Just give them my books, you know, they will benefit eternally. So let's open the door and do our best to bring, you know, the mercy of Srimati Radharani, because she is so pleased. I have a god sister, I won't say the name, but she's a book distributor. And she had this wonderful dream of Srimati Radharani thanking her for doing that service. And I'm not so fortunate. But I had a dream of Nityananda. So, but still. Okay, so let me read something that's very beautiful, and then I'll tell you a story about Srimati Radharani. That's okay. It's about the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. It's a prayer. The prayer is by, I'll tell you in a minute, it's by Srila Prabodhananda Sarasvati. And this book is from Touchstone Media, so it's what I found. It goes like that. Oh Radhika, when shall I enjoy the fortune of having my head used by you as your footstool? That's pretty sweet. Your feet, which are the life treasure of Govinda, will then be a crown on my head. You will further bathe my head with the pure nectarian blood that always flows among your devotees. Isn't that beautiful? Should I repeat it again?
Yes.
It's so beautiful. Do you want to repeat it all together?
Yes.
Oh Radhika!
Oh Radhika!
When shall I enjoy the fortune?
When shall I enjoy the fortune
of having my head
of having my head
used by you
as
your footstool, your feet, which are the life treasure of Govinda, will then be a crown on my head. They will further bathe my head with the pure nectarian flood of love that always flows among your devotees. bit about the appearance of Srimati Radharani. Vrishabhanu Maharaj was plowing his field, and they didn't have any children. And there on the field was a beautiful, beautiful little girl. So he picked up that little girl and brought her to Kirtida. And he said, we have received a child. Srimati Radharani, she was exquisitely beautiful. But they were very worried about her because she didn't open her eyes and she didn't cry. And they thought that she was deaf and dumb. But then, to celebrate her appearance, they invited Nanda Maharaj, Mother Yashoda, and baby Krishna and Balram. They all went to visit. And Krishna didn't waste any time. He crawled over where Srimati Radharani was. And for the first time, she knew Krishna is there. She opened her beautiful eyes and let out a cry of joy. And Vrishabhanu Maharaj, Mother Kirtida, everyone was so happy and delighted. And then there's another story that's very dear to my heart, because Srila Prabhupada gave me the name Sadhvi, but I was wondering what, I didn't know what it meant. For a long time they told me it's like Sadhu, Sadhvi, okay, but I thought I would like to speak, as the name of Krishna, so I can remember Krishna like that. But throughout the years, I read this, there's a beautiful book about Radharani from Bhakti Purushottam Swami. And there is a beautiful, beautiful story about Radharani receiving title Sadhvi. And that really encouraged me. So now I'll tell you the story. Probably some of you know it. But some of you, it's always good. And even the thing is, I was hearing from Amarendra Prabhu that sometimes we hear the same thing again and again. But every time, it purifies our heart. So it's good. So Srimati Radharani, because she was rendering such wonderful, wonderful service to Krishna, she had a mother-in-law and a daughter-in-law that were not liking that very much. Tell me the name again. Jatila and Putila. And they were not for that idea. They didn't like that Srimati Radharani loved Krishna so much. So they were spreading rumors all over Vrindavan. And they were trying to stop this beautiful relationship that, that's eternal, wonderful relationship. But they were not that successful. Because Srimati Radharani came to Krishna and she said, I don't know what to do. They are giving me so much difficulty. They are telling me that I'm so unchaste, and everyone is talking about me, and I don't know what to do. Krishna says, don't worry, I'll take care of it. And you really did. So, one morning, the morning after, he woke up and he had such a big fever. And Mother Jasoda was so worried. So Nanda Maharaj went all over to find a doctor. And lo and behold, Krishna kind of manifested himself in another form as a doctor. And he was a young Brahmana, and he was walking, chanting mantras and all that. And Nanda Maharaj said, I am looking for a doctor. My little boy is so sick. He says, I am an Ayurvedic doctor, and all my patients recover, and I have special mantras, and I can do it. So he said, please come, please. So he came, and he chanted all these mantras and drew things on the ground and made it real complicated. like a lot of Indians like. It's like, I can do it, but I admire it. How about this? So anyway, he was doing all that, and Nana Maharaj, she said, "Wow." He said, "Well, there is a cure for sure." He said, someone, a very chaste lady, asked to go in the Jamuna and bring water from a pot that has 1,000 holes. Well, that's not that easy. But Jatila Kutila said, "No problem. I can do this. Because I'm always chased by my husband, no problem." Well, they went there and they had the pot and they fell in the water, both of them, and they had to be rescued by the man of Vrindavan. And they felt kind of embarrassed about it. And then they tried, other people tried, other chaste women tried, nobody was able to. And then someone said, "We have to go get Srimati Radharani." And Srimati Radharani had such a wonderful, wonderful attitude. She came there, she offered obeisances to everyone. She offered obeisances to the bridge that was made, there was a bridge that was made out of hair, right? Offered obeisances to the bridge, proceeded very calmly, thinking about Krishna the whole time. Brought the pot, collected the water, and then she saw that Krishna was there in the water, and with 1,000 fingers, blocked all the holes. She was able to bring the water so that Krishna got better. And then Lalita said, "Sadhvi, she is Sadhvi." So she got that at that time. And when I heard that story, it did encourage me. And I thought, I hope I am the servant of the servant of the servant. Like that. Okay, so there is a few minutes, and I hope you don't have too many complicated questions. But if you have comments or things that you want to say, that's good. All right. You have that? And I also said in the episode of Narendra Prabhu, if I said something that wasn't right, or that didn't feel good, or that wasn't good for you, well, forgive me, I'll try to do better. Yeah, it makes it safe that way. Oh, and he said something so nice too. He said, "And I hope that you will pray that I can continue serving." That's nice, huh? Yeah. Okay, any questions?
Can you help us validate the symbols on the lotus feet? What are the symbols?
What's that?
Michael Guru.
Right.
Oh.
Hare Krishna. I just wanted to, if you can, a humble request, if you can walk us through the symbols of Radharani's lotus feet.
I had something about it years ago, and I looked in that book today, and I couldn't find it in that book. So there's always Google. And they are very, very, very. I mean, Google is fed by a lot of Indian people. So they research these things, and it's probably there because they actually have a very good role in spreading Krishna consciousness, of bringing Krishna consciousness to the West through that medium, So that's the way that Srila Prabhupada wanted the Indian, because Lord Chaitanya wanted that the Indian people should be spreading Krishna consciousness all over the world. So they are doing it to Google. If I had a better answer, I would give it to you. Okay, anything else? Hare Krishna.
Mamaji, I really liked how you did the whole katha, like giving us, taking us from the mercy of our Vaishnavas, Nityananda Prabhu, from there to Sarva Swamis, and then to all the acharyas, to also, sorry, I forgot about our very dear Srila Prabhupada, and all the acharyas, and then to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, then to Radharani and Krishna, and then to Radharani, and took us from the position where we are now struggling in this material world. We need so much of purification, and then by taking shelter of devotees, how we can really aspire for that sweet understanding of Radharani and Krishna's pastime. I really love that your journey you have shown us. Thank you so much for that. And I loved how you accommodated the small things, like even we can serve by giving the UPS person or the FedEx person a book, or asking them, do you like to eat or cook? It's such a sweet and wonderful expression of love you have shown, or you have shown us the path to show to everyone. And in the whole entire class, I lost completely the track of myself or time and anything, because it was so engaging and so beautifully you have took us to the shelter of all the Vaishnavas and Radharani and Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji, for this class and for being
Srila Prabhupada did that, and I just kind of followed, Srila Prabhupada gave us the example, really. It came from him, really. And it came from Gurudev also.
Mother, would you like to speak a little bit on Gadadhar Pandit? Gadadhar Pandit, who is Srimati Radharani with Mahaprabhu.
How about I let you do that? She put me on the spot. I keep it up. Leave it alone. I mean, she comes from there. She knows a whole lot more about it. Now she's all with. Well, that would be the subject of another class. It's already 6 o'clock and you all want to shut down. How about that? Because I'm not prepared. But if you want to, go for it. Next time. To be continued.
Amazing Mataji. Yeah. Second with Sadhvi Gopi Mataji.
Amazing word. It is coming from you, Mother Sadhvi, about Srimati Radharani. And as Sadhvi Gopi Mataji mentioned, we can see where our place is. Srimati Radharani up there. And the whole, starting from our Gurujana till there. Mentioned is, as much as I go priya Bhakta Padakamalayur, Dasa, 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 proportional to that, I would be able to understand the glory of Srimati Radharani. That was very wonderful. And Mamaji, it was very captivating to all of us, to our level. Thank you so very much.
Thank you for having this.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Manasari. Just by hearing the comments of everyone, we know how such a wonderful, captivating class, preparing our mind for Sri Radhastami. So let's express our gratitude to Mother Sadhvi for such a beautiful class on glories of Srimati Radharani. following Wednesday is the festival of Radhastami. Please come early. Program starts at 4:30. We'll start with some bhajans on glorifying Srimati Radharani. At 5 p.m. we'll have a talk. So 5 p.m. we'll have a talk on the glories of Srimati Radharani. At 6 p.m. we'll have Abhishek, beautiful Abhishek of Radha Krishna. So very, very special. Join us for the Abhishek. And then at 7 o'clock we'll have nice Aarti with Kirtan. And 7:30 there's going to be a beautiful drama performance on actually one of the most controversial sections of Bhagavata. But that's something related to that. But it's going to be 30 minutes drama performance. And then at 8 p.m. we have dinner prasadam for everyone. So please do join us. On Radhastami, fasting is also observed till noon, and then evening is the festival. And Radhastami is a very auspicious day. If you like to make a sponsorship, for Radhastami, the Maha Abhishek and the Aarti sponsorship is $108. Flowers is $251. The Maha Prasadam fee $1, and the DT dress is $501. So please consider making a donation for this very, very merciful festival and get the mercy of Srimati Radharani. If you would like to aspect of the festival, you are enthusiastic to raise your hand and sponsor right now. Abhishek, Rishikesh Prabhu. Hari Bol!
Abhishek Prabhu.
Hari Bol, Abhishek. Hari Bol! Abhishek, Ujjwala Rasakya Mataji Abhishek. Hari Bol! Okay, so like to make a sponsorship, we're down at the book at the Prasadam table. You can please let us know if you'd like to sponsor any aspect of the festival. Also, today's feast is sponsored by Prabhu, and this is like requesting prayers for his mother who left her body in March of this year. So let's pray to Shri Shri Radha Golokananda. Let us loudly chant the Hare Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Is Prabhu Mati here? Oh, right, yes. Sorry, I didn't see you. I was so what's the program? Thank you for sponsoring. Hare Krishna. Also, we have birthdays on this week. So actually today is September 8th, birthday of Zina Mataji. Zina Mataji is right here. We would like to thank her for her service to New Goloka for years and years. So let's chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, praying for Zina Mataji.